everyone, welcome to epicspeak, where I help you engage in better English conversations. In this lesson, we are talking about some smart expressions and phrases that you will most likely come across during business conversations with clients or colleagues. So this lesson is going to be super helpful for you if you want to sound like a true professional, or if you want to understand advanced business expressions. Let's get started. The first expression is ahead of the curve. If you're ahead of the curve, then you're ahead of those around you in terms of current trends or business approaches. People who are first to change to a new idea, or people who do something that later becomes generally popular, are ahead of the curve. For example, in equipping its vehicles with mobile Wi-Fi, the company was ahead of the curve. Elon Musk is ahead of the curve in adopting new technologies. The next expression is to pay top dollar. To pay top dollar for something is to pay a lot of money for it. The phrase can sometimes mean that someone has paid the highest possible price or the maximum possible price for something, and the price will likely never be higher than that. For example, when a person buys a new smartphone the day it is released, they are paying top dollar for it. And in business, we use this phrase to describe paying for things that are expensive due to their scarcity or their high demand. The next expression is to get your foot in the door. To get your foot in the door is to take a first step or a small step towards achieving some longer or more difficult task. If you want to launch your own clothing line someday, you get your foot in the fashion world by making contacts or working as an assistant for an established designer. So in the business terms, the phrase may be used in reference to new employment decisions and business opportunities. For example, she took drama lessons to get a foot in the door of the acting world. The next expression is to stay on top of things. To stay on top of things is to be aware of and maintain control over a situation or process. You can also use the phrase to keep on top of things. If you want to make a profit in shares, you must stay on top of the financial trends. You should be constantly aware of the market and give it your regular attention. A secretary must stay on top of her boss's schedule to organize everything efficiently. The next expression is to count on something or someone. To count on something or someone is to depend on them, to rely on them for support or help. We use this phrase to describe trust between either two people or two entities. So if you ask a very dear friend for some help and he goes, "Sure, no problem," you can say, "I knew I could count on you." For example, "I was counting on this month's bonus to pay the insurance. I was relying on it. I depend on this bonus to pay the insurance." The next expression is to get off to a flying start. If something gets off to a flying start, it performs very well from the beginning. If you get off to a flying start, you become very successful in a short span of time, whether in a race or in a new job. The term comes from competitive racing, where a competitor takes off so fast at the beginning of the race that it seems as if he is flying ahead of the other competitors. So in the business world, it can refer to a person's career or to a particular project or activity. Example, advertising revenue in the new financial year has gotten off to a flying start. The next expression is out of one's depth. To be out of one's depth. When someone is out of their depth, they are too inexperienced or incapable in some way to deal with a situation. It is outside of their understanding or competence. The phrase comes from literally being in water too deep to be able to stand comfortably. In business, the term is usually applied to people struggling with their responsibilities or workload. For example, The new intern is out of her depth, working for the CEO. She won't last a week. She is unable to perform her duties because she's still new. She's not as capable as more experienced secretaries. The next expression is to put a lid on. Now, what happens when you put a lid on something? You cover it, right? So to put a lid on something is to stop something in its tracks and contain it, often because it is becoming too difficult to control. It could be a conversation or a problem, anything. To put a lid on it is to stop it or end it. For example, the pandemic put a lid on my plans to travel abroad. The new management intends to put a lid on the rising personal expenses. The next expression is end of the line. End of the line is the conclusion or the final outcome. It's the point at which it is no longer possible to continue with a process or activity. For example, if you're familiar with the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard domestic violence case, you may hear some people say that it is the end of the line for Amber Heard's acting career, meaning she's not going to get any more acting projects. Her career has concluded. It's over. Or it was the end of the road for this television series. Instead of saying end of the line, you can also say end of the road, which means the same thing. The series has ended. We are not going to see any more seasons of this series. So this idiom refers to a point where the road or the line stops. And the next expression is to get off the ground. To get something off the ground is to start something. So when you begin something, you're getting it off the ground. It could be a process, an idea, or an activity. For example, he had plans for a startup, but it never got off the ground, meaning he could never start it. A lot more money will be required to get this project off the ground. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson and found it useful. Let me know which ones you've really liked. Make sentences and put them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon in my next one.